Well, actually, real quick before we begin, fun fact: we just had our best month ever last month for 2 months in a row.
Nice.
Month before that, we were at 600 and some plays. Last month, we were at 700 some plays. So we're crawling up there little by little, folks, with the little podcast that I can. Hmm.
Nice.
But I don't know. Did you catch our last podcast when we reviewed Barbie, or you didn't listen? Fine if you didn't.
No, I haven't listened to it yet because I haven't seen
All right,
Barbie.
that's fair. Yeah, you should watch it with a crowd. It's so much better with a crowd.
Oh, I
But
bet it's probably gonna be weird if I'm the only dude that's in there.
I mean, you'd be surprised. But no, okay. So, uh, as you know, there's a writer strike, right? There's a writer strike and actor strike going on.
You mean a whiny baby strike? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, it's so hard for me to take it seriously though when like you see like big name actors on the picket line like stop and take pictures with fans. Because like when you think of strike, you think of like
The
act like
working people.
yeah, like the work like a blue collar guy striking because he's not making enough money to feed his family. And I'm not saying that actors aren't making enough money to feed their families. I'm pretty sure a lot of them aren't. But it's just funny to see like the big name ones like, oh wait, hold on, let me stop picketing to take a picture.
But like that. So let's be clear. This strike is not about like The Rock or Robert Downey Jr. I'm pretty sure they're well fed. This is
No,
about like
it's for the like
the
the guest
background,
stars, the
the background
small time
actors.
actors,
Yeah. And dude,
the
and
young and up and coming actors.
yeah. Well, like, and it's not just the actors on the writer's side. Like, dude, I found out about this. Only the top like 1% of writers are even making $70,000 a year. And bear in mind, that's in LA, where that ain't
Mhm.
shit. Making $70,000 in Austin, Texas ain't shit. And in LA, like that's even worse. So
I
like
mean, I hate to break it to you, but California is a cesspool.
it's a fucking expensive cesspool. But but yeah, no, so that's why they're picking it, man. It's for one, better wages, two, better royalties because old contracts had like TV residuals, right? Like you get paid royalties off of TV
Different
replays.
now when it comes to streaming. Like
Exactly.
streaming, there you don't get the same type of residuals.
You
Well,
don't get any
one
residuals.
because
Most don't.
I don't think Netflix reveals like how much a show's getting streamed.
No, they're very secretive. They'll only say it when it's like the
So
biggest,
there was
premiere in the history of Netflix. That's it.
there was a point that the comedian Andrew Schultz made. He was like, "What if Netflix isn't revealing the streaming ratings for
Hmm.
shows because they're not that high?"
Hmm.
And then things are going to cost more and people are going to be let down by, oh shit, my show isn't getting streamed that much.
Hmm.
Like if they did do it based on like, oh, you're getting streamed this much, here's how much you're getting paid.
Well, I think also because like for TV, there's a very blanket, not blank. It's a very like see-through process of like Nielsen ratings, right? Like
Yeah, the Nielsen ratings.
but like for streaming,
Oh, it's
like
different.
what's a higher rating is if 1,000 people watch your show a day, is that high, or is it 100,000, or is it total hours viewed over a month? Like what's the gauge?
Yeah,
Um,
it's that there's no real like rating like to say like if a show's doing good on streaming.
yeah, there's no way to kind of gauge it.
Like for
Um,
fuck's sake, Netflix could be lying when it has that top 10 list on their thing. They could
yeah.
just be like, "Oh, what a coincidence. It's all Netflix stuff that's on the top 10."
See, but I always assume that I'm very like I won't say anti-corporate. I am somewhat anti-corporate, but I never trust it when I get recommendations.
Except
I'm
when it
like
comes to
bullshit. This,
AEW.
hey, don't fuck with AEW.
You're
Uh,
fucking corporate stooge when it comes to AEW.
the
Tony
rebellion.
Khan is God.
Tony Khan is not God, but he might as well be. Um, no, look.
He
The point
plays
being
with
is
his
that
guys on TV. You don't play with your guys on TV.
You and I both know Vince McMahon plays with this guy as much more.
Oh yeah.
We're supposed to be talking about Oppenheimer. Jesus. Look, point being is I think it's fair to say on my end, I stand with the writers and the actors strike. Bernie, any opinions on this before we continue?
I mean, if they could, I'm sure there's room for negotiation. Like I'm like you see the amount of money like some of these corporations make. There has to be some room for negotiation. Like,
I,
and it really does suck that a lot of these jobs are in California, where it is not a friendly place to live if you're poor or if you're rich,
yeah,
because even the rich get fucked in California.
everyone gets fucked in California.
Yeah, like, and it you can say like, oh well, they can move. Why don't they move to like Texas, for example? If they move to Texas, it'll just become the same thing.
It's becoming the same thing in the valley. We have a lot of people moving into the valley from Austin and from California. And I don't know if you noticed, but me and my wife are currently looking for a house, and we fucking noticed housing prices have gone up because of
Yeah,
people moving in from Austin and
you're
California.
looking for a house in the worst time, Eddie.
I know, dude. I have the best timing to look for shit at the worst time. If I tell y'all I'm gonna buy a car, don't buy a car. If I tell y'all I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy a house, don't buy a house. If I tell y'all don't how try to avoid identity theft, you're probably gonna get your identity thefted,
Mm-mm.
stolen. Fernie, hit the intro.
This is Fernando from the Rollback Podcast, and today my lowly chum of a friend Eddie and I are reviewing Chris Nolan's, let's say, opus, uh, Oppenheimer.
You mean his magnum opus?
There it is. I knew I forgot a word. I was like, let me
Okay,
just sound confident. We'll roll past it.
folks. If take one lesson from Fernie, if you sound confident, people will think you're telling
Exactly.
the truth. like a teacher.
Yep.
Uh, During World War II, Lieutenant General Leslie Groves Jr. appoints physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer to work on a top secret Manhattan project that was not that top secret. Oppenheimer and a team of scientists, the world's greatest nerds, spend years developing and designing the atomic bomb. Their work comes to fruition on July 16, 1945, as they witness the world's first nuclear explosion, forever changing the course of history and creating the giant monster known as Godzilla. I may have made some of that up.
I think you did.
I might have. So fucking where do we start? Jesus, uh, going into this, man, what were you
Oppenheimer
expecting?
got some pussy.
Dude, shockingly, him and God, who's the other really famous nerd? M equals MC squared.
Uh,
Einstein.
Einstein,
Einstein.
dude.
Dude, I apparently Oppenheimer and Einstein were fucking womanizers, and I don't mean like two or three women. Like
Jesus.
Einstein was known to fuck his students. Like it was not rare.
I'm not surprised. I mean, the only people that were probably in his class were people that were like, "Oh my God, it's Einstein."
I mean, they were celebrities. Like, what? Think of what's a modern day scientist celebrity? Like Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Well, I mean, even Stephen Hawking got some pussy.
That's very true. So what? So if you're like
He
super
cheated on his
smart,
wife, I think.
I think he cheated on his wife several times.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not impossible. The
Mm,
theory of everything.
that's right. Oh God, I remember that one.
Uh,
Um,
but uh, but yeah, I mean, I fell for the misconception that Einstein was a part of the Manhattan Project.
oh, you thought he was?
Yeah.
He kind of made it possible. I don't know if they go dive too much into it, but
No,
essentially
they
when
pretty
he
much say
proved,
like it was because of his letter to FDR that they started the Manhattan Project.
it was his letter, but also when he proved that what was it? He theorized that the laws of physics don't apply to like nuclear objects, right? Um, there was a particular day where there was a solar eclipse, and they
Mm-hmm.
managed to get a picture of the sunlight from the sun bending for just a moment. It was bending during the eclipse, and it kind of proved that the laws of physics don't apply to nuclear things, to things of this location. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
opening the door for like theoretical physicists, to start like researching, like, well, what about the atom? What do we this? The rules don't
Mm-hmm.
apply, so what can they do? And that essentially started the atom bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all that. But no, are you a big like history buff? Like, I don't think I've ever asked you. Do you like these kind of movies?
I love history movies.
Really, I did not know that. What was one of your favorites?
Uh, I mean, Saving Private Ryan isn't a history movie, but it does take place in World War II. Um,
I'd say that qualifies.
Another history movie. It's so funny, like when you get put on the spot, you start forgetting shit. Um,
But you have a massive DVD collection. You can just look at it, like start pulling names.
I mean, it really depends. Like I like biography movies, like Hands of Stone, things like that. Um, but Black Hawk Down, I would say Black Hawk Down was a history movie that I really enjoyed. Granted, all those movies can be skewed because I mean it's all different.
I mean, this movie can be skewed too. Like, not everything is as dramatized as they present it.
So you're telling me his wife didn't see him fucking Florence Pugh when he was being interrogated?
Dude, that was fucking intense. I was like, this is harsh. Like, when the camera was moving and he goes from being floated to being naked, I was like, okay, like he feels naked in front of these guys. Like, that's a bit awkward. And then you see Florence Pugh on top of him, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I am uncomfortable. You see Emily Blunt just there staring daggers like, you son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
But
But
yeah, surprisingly, a lot of the stuff in this movie was pretty accurate. Like the fact that they ditched their son with their buddies.
oh yeah, yeah, they did ditch him. Did they ditch him permanently? I don't think so. They had like,
No, it was for I think it was like for months.
yeah. Well, I mean, back then they didn't fucking believe in postpartum depression. They were just like, oh, she's just sad. Like, give her some time. Like, hey, maybe we need to see a therapist or something, sweetheart. You're drinking a lot, a lot.
Oh yeah, his I think his wife was an pretty sure she was an alcoholic.
Yeah, but dude, she was fucking smart though. I'll say that. Well, okay, so he meets Florence Pugh, who's a member of the Communist Party. Now, as we all know, in early 20th century America, there's
Filthy
no dirtier
commie.
word than communist. Yeah, you fucking filthy communists. Which like just goes to be like, hey, we might lose this world war, but fuck the communists. We don't want them involved. Like,
Mm.
how stupid are you? Like, and I don't know, man.
What'd you think of the setup? How it was going back and forth, like trial to back then, and it was giving the trial, not the trial. Um, whose trial? RDJ's character, Strauss. It was giving
Yeah,
RDJ's character the black and white, and then even the meeting that he had with Oppenheimer discussing the hydrogen bomb.
yeah. I didn't hate that. I thought it was a good way of like distinguishing because I was like, I remember at one point I was like, I think we're following four stories at once, and I counted in my head. It was Oppenheimer growing up, right? Like
Mm.
him working on the bomb, Strauss, black and white, and then the trial phase. So like, no, yeah, we followed three different stories at one point. Like it was a
Yep.
lot to follow. But to Nolan, whoever the fuck edited this movie needs an award because like they
It was
made it
better than Tenet,
very.
I'll tell you that right now.
I was about to say, didn't you hate Tenet?
I fucking hated Tenet. I thought it was a stupid fucking movie.
Is that the only movie though of his that you've hated?
Pretty much.
The Batman made this movie happen, right?
I'm not surprised.
He gave Christopher Nolan a book about Oppenheimer's speeches, I think. and
Oh,
that's what
Cillian
kind of got.
Murphy,
No, no, no. Not Killian Murphy. Robert
Christian Bale.
Pattinson.
Oh,
No, he gave him a book after Tenet ended. He was like, oh, "Shit, this looks good. I can't. I want to make a movie about this guy." Yeah, I mean, he made it happen. But so what did you think about? And by the way, that's factual. The scene where Oppenheimer tries to poison his teacher, and that really happened. By the way, that's not joking. That
yeah, and he
fucking
got
happened.
caught.
Yeah, and I think he was suspended. I think, or
Yeah,
he
he was
had to go.
suspended. I
Yeah.
thought, man, what a fucking whiny crybaby.
Well, 'cause, I mean, he's great at theoretical physics. Like, it wasn't really invented. Imagine being good at a subject that hasn't even been invented yet.
That's not the
Like, how
right to
much that
kill
must suck.
somebody.
No, I mean, maybe. Like, I don't
He
know.
made fun of me.
I mean, everyone's different, man. Maybe he had to eat it. Maybe he just had to
No,
bite
he
the bullet.
didn't.
Are you saying this because you're a teacher that makes fun of his students?
No, I mean it's just fucked up. Like you make fun of someone, he tries to kill you.
I mean, eye for an eye, no?
Like Will Smith smacking Chris Rock.
There was no reaction.
Yeah. Oh, it was slight overreaction. Of course, it was a fucking overreaction.
Oh man, but yeah. So Oppenheimer, he studies theoretical physicism overseas and realizes, dude, the U.S. is lagging when it comes to like science and nerds. So he comes back home to teach. Um, in actuality, his first class really was one dude, and it was a
Yeah.
conversation.
And you know
Um,
what's weird?
mhm.
That they didn't really portray his relationship with Heisenberg that well.
What wasn't more of a competitiveness between him and Heisenberg?
Yeah, they were competitive, but when Oppenheimer asked Heisenberg to leave Germany and to come work in the United States, but Heisenberg took that very offensively because he was a very proud German.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like at the time, nowadays, I guess like hardcore patriotism isn't as strong as it is. But
And he was
yeah,
like,
back then,
"But I fucking love Germany. Germany's my favorite."
even though you're Jewish,
Yeah, even though he was Jewish and the Nazis were in charge, he was like, "Nah, I love Germany."
I wonder though, do you think it was because the Germans were in charge and he loves Germany, or do you think he was like worried for the safety of his loved ones?
He was, from what I was reading up on, he was like Hitler. He thought that Germany should rise back to power after World War One. Like, because you know, at the end of World War One, Germany was very down and out. Like they were so
Yeah,
fucked over after World War One.
after the treaty, was it the Treaty of Versailles?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, and that completely kicked
So
him
he
over.
was one of the Germans that saw that and was like, Germany should rise back to power. Not saying that the Nazis should have risen to power, but he was a nationalist.
Yeah. Um. So I didn't even realize that he had asked Eisenberg to come back. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't
Um.
address that in the movie.
I wonder why. Nolan's normally really good about that with these
Yeah.
rounds. Um. Which also, like, dude, $100 million movie from Christopher about Oppenheimer, it's an historical epic. $100 million.
No
I,
CGI
I
used at all, I believe.
very, 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 very limited. It was
Oh.
limited to just like part of the explosion, not even the whole thing. Most of it was practical effects.
Hmm.
Um, what's it called? But dude, I don't. Nolan is maybe the only director I can think of that could command that much money for a historical biopic. And they were like, yeah, sure, yeah, do it.
Well, I will say him and Barbie probably saved the movie theaters in July.
Dude, after even fucking Mission Impossible, it didn't bomb, but it did not make what they were expecting. Nor Fast or Furious, nor The Flash, nor Indiana Jones.
Definitely not The
But
Flash.
fuck you. But Barbenheimer, Barbenheimer had the fourth best box office weekend in history. You know, what were the three that was leading it?
What? I'm assuming Avengers is in there.
Yes, both of them.
Hmm.
Oh, so it goes Endgame, Infinity War, The Force Awakens, Barbenheimer.
Wow.
I,
Hmm.
I, you know what? Maybe this means we'll get more original content because the old shit ain't working.
I saw
Um,
this movie at 10:30 at night, and surprisingly, I didn't fall asleep.
it was very engaging. I thought, like, it
Yeah.
was hard to like look away from it.
Yeah, it was me and my brother, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend went to go see it in Denver, and they were starting to fall asleep near the end. We didn't.
It was good. Did you guys watch in IMAX?
No, we saw it at Alamo Draft House.
Oh, nice. What's it called? I
It was
remember.
unlimited popcorn and soda.
I've only been to an Alamo Draft House once, and it was fucking great. It was when we saw Birds of Prey.
I saw it in what, San Antonio?
Corpus,
There's a draft house in Corpus?
a small one, but yeah,
Oh.
it
Yeah,
only
the
had
theater we
like
were in was really small.
yeah, the one we went to, it only had like eight theaters, I think total.
Oh no, I mean like the theater that we were in, like it was maybe 8 rows.
Oh damn, that is tiny.
Yeah, like it really wasn't that big.
Mhm. No, but I hope you guys have had fun. Like, dude, I remember when I was
But
watching Barbie with.
I hear that you can't even see it in true IMAX. Like unless you go to a true IMAX theater, which there's only very few in the country.
I think it's only like 12 in the whole country.
Yeah, I think one's in San Antonio. I mean not San Antonio,
Shit.
Austin.
Yeah.
But
Well,
all
dude,
they
because
play
I'm
is like nature films and shit.
really
Yeah, because I remember me and my parents went to go see this this Storm Chaser documentary that was playing there.
in an IMAX theater.
Yeah.
How big is a fucking theater?
It was the screen is big and the
I
theater is
kind of
pretty fucking big.
I kind of want to see. I want to compare it to the IMAX down here.
Yeah, well like these aren't true IMAX. Like
Yeah, but
these are digital IMAX theaters.
so what's the difference between digital IMAX and real IMAX?
IMAX uses film.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, dude, there aren't that many of them.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, fuck that noise. Um, but no, I watched this movie in IMAX at 10:30 at night, and everyone was wide awake. And I was looking around me, everyone was awake.
I think I would have rather seen it in Dolby Digital.
Dude, I can't tell the difference. I'm gonna be real with you. I can't.
I mean either, but they have the recliner seats. The
That's
deep
fair.
recliner seats. Like the ones where like you really sink in there.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that this movie was 3 fucking hours, that probably would be better for my back. But fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But no, so Killian Murphy comes back, starts teaching. The war's on, obviously. And he begins to just talk to his students, and I love this part of it. I can't speak for other like majors and how they taught class and stuff and everything. But one
Hmm.
thing I loved about my English classes was the fact that it felt a little more like a conversation. Like
Hmm.
someone was spitting out an idea, someone would comment, someone else would comment, someone would say this, that. It was more of a discussion based, but the teacher was just facilitating while the students talked.
Hmm.
And I like that even in like physics, like theoretical physics, it's not a situation where like I'm telling you what's going on. We're all just it's theory. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. Everyone just talk and maybe we'll come up with an idea. I
Yeah.
like that. I love that part of it.
For me,
Um,
um, it was very interesting to see like how they went about going to the classroom and then going on to uh trying to prove it. Uh when it came out that what wasn't it some Germans they had tested a
it was
bomb.
Heisenberg himself.
Yeah,
No,
he
not a
tested a
bomb.
bomb. Well, he
He
split the atom.
yeah, he was able to test it and it came back. It's crazy because it just came back with instead of 100%, 110%. but it
Mhm.
would that little bit was enough to be like, we can do this.
Yeah.
Like we can get more energy out of the atom when we split it. How much more can we get? And the more volatile the chemical, the more powerful the explosion. Hence the
Yep.
uranium. Well, that's also crazy because even in the movie, they're like, "There's no way we can produce enough uranium, so let's use plutonium." So they use both bombs, same effect with two different bases.
Batman and
Little boy,
Little Boy.
yeah,
It
little
was
boy and Fat
plutonium.
Man, yeah. One was plutonium, one was uranium.
Mm.
Um, that's why one was smaller than the other. One was whichever one. There was one material that they knew would work. The other one they weren't sure, and that one that they weren't sure about, that's why they had two bombs. They tested one, and then they used the other one in the actual war itself.
You know what's crazy was that these bombs were really. I think it's fair to say these were designed to use on Germany,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
and
I'm
then
sure. I'm sure they were planning on using them on the bunker.
well, Germany surrenders, and we're left with Japan, and um, so coincidentally enough, like a couple days ago, I binged the HBO miniseries The Pacific.
Hmm. Oh, that's a great fucking show.
It was all right. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest.
Did you like it as much as Band of Brothers?
I haven't seen Band of Brothers. I need to watch that one too.
What? Bro, okay, yeah, you need to watch that. It's really good.
Um,
Ross, it's a
but
weak point.
but I do know like from like historical accounts that the Pacific Theater was far and away more violent than the European theater when it came to
Yeah.
war. And
No.
and yeah, the Japanese would not surrender like at all.
Well, it was, and I, folks, I'm digging into my knowledge of, I want to say old World War II documentaries, partially like, how do I say this? It was ingrained in the Japanese people. The Japanese were a proud people, right? Were slash are proud people.
And wasn't the
Um,
emperor at the time also kind of making
God,
himself to be a deity?
yes. Um, and bear in mind, these people were trained from birth almost, or to the emperor is essentially God. Like you die for your country. The greatest honor you can have is dying for your country. Hence
Oh
the
yeah.
kamikaze pilots. Like,
Mhm.
hey, you know you're dying, but you're dying for your country, so it's all good. Um, so and
I was
and
I was trying to find exact casualty counts. You know, it's really hard to find casualty counts of World War II, like exact ones. It was like roughly in total with European and the Pacific, it was about 300 some thousand. I think in the Pacific Theater, it was like 100 and some
oh,
thousand
I'm surprised it
casualties.
wasn't. I'm surprised it wasn't higher.
You know, um, and you know, I was kind of thinking about that, like, because Oppenheimer changed war.
Yeah. Well,
He is the Prometheus of today. He gave humans fire, and he basically gave them the ability to destroy themselves.
do you know about that book, American Prometheus? Is that where you use that word?
Yeah, that's his
Yeah.
book.
Okay. Yeah. Um, but it was crazy because, and I know we're jumping all over the way, folks, but like we are like this fucking much like Christopher Nolan, we will jump over this. Um, there's still debate, and I mean you can. Everyone's different. Feel free to argue amongst yourselves. Was it the right thing to do? Because Japan wasn't going to surrender, and they
Mhm.
estimated casualties, including civilians and soldiers, anywhere from the last time I checked the number, it was 700 to 825,000 casualties if they had invaded Japan
Yeah, it
versus
was getting
dropping
worse and
two
worse.
bombs. Yeah,
So I mean, it just got to the point where the U.S. was kind of like, we need to put a stop to it.
yeah. Well, and it's crazy because they even make a point of saying and they mentioned in the movie, but it is true. They did say this. The first bomb is to show them that we mean it. The second bomb is to tell them that we can keep this up.
Yeah,
Eh,
it
Although
had to.
Oppenheimer,
I'm not surprised that that was the case. Like, of course, it's gonna be a show of power.
well, and the thing is that there were debates also at one point, like, what if we just drop the bomb somewhere where there's no civilians, no casualties, just as a show of force? But they were like, no, like if we
No,
just drop it, it's gonna give them a like, oh, we need to fight against this. Like, no,
yeah.
we need to drop it somewhere that they're gonna see. And they're like, well, can we avoid civilian casualties and warn them?
Do you think it's fair to say that the U.S. did warn them? They dropped leaflets over Nagasaki and Hiroshima that told them to evacuate the city.
I wasn't aware of that fact. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess they did warn them. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they dropped leaflets over the city saying
How,
to,
how far in advance though?
I think, like a week.
Y'all had a week notice.
I think
To be
it
fair,
had to have been within a week to maybe a couple days.
I mean, but I guess to be fair, like, of course, the enemy is going to try to get us to evacuate. They're going to try to invade. So I guess that would explain the suspicious. It'd be like if they drop pamphlets over New York saying, "Hey, heads up, evacuate the city." Attack is coming.
Well, it's like the Pearl Harbor dilemma. I mean, people think there's the conspiracy theory that the United States knew, like for a fact, that Japan was going to attack and just let it happen so that the United States could join the war.
Yeah, and I mean, they reference that in the Dark Knight Returns. Gordon says like it rattled him for days because it was like, did they really let it happen? And then he decided, this is Gordon talking. It's too big. Like it's too big for him to figure it out and to judge because you're never gonna know all the facts. You're never gonna be there.
Hmm. I think what's crazy
Um,
about this movie, and I think what they captured really well, was that these scientists weren't really thinking about like the casualties. Like you
no,
really didn't see them like fret about like, oh, this could fucking kill a lot of people.
yeah. Well, so there's two things I want to bring up. One is the scientists were all in agreement for this first bomb. They were like, fair enough, we understand. A lot of them were very against the second dropping. They were like, you need to give them time. They're not going to realize how bad the effects are if you drop the second one like 3 days later. They're not going to see the damage.
Hmm.
There's no time for the news circulate, but they still dropped the second one just 3 days later. Um, there's also a widespread conspiracy theory believing that Heisenberg may have sabotaged Russia. I mean, the Germans. Um, I'm sure you know this. His lab caught on fire at one point during an experiment, but all the research that they had in the lab was lost at the time. It was considered a success, but they lost all their notes, so they had to start from square one. That set them back so
Wasn't
far.
Heisenberg? Because I know that there were some German scientists that like they were really fucked up. Like I know some. There was one really famous German scientist.
Mandela.
No, not him. He was a rocket scientist. Um, he came to the U.S. after the war.
Uh, Part of Paperclip, right?
Y- yes, he was.
Operation Paperclip.
He came out in that movie that they would make us watch in school, October Sky. Remember the kids build the rocket and then he goes Jake Gyllenhaal goes to this fair to this science fair and he meets him. Warner
I
von
don't
Braun.
remember. I believe you.
Warner von Braun was a German scientist apparently and uh during World War II and apparently he would have like Jews that were working in his factory like hanging.
Jesus Christ.
Hmm. But I mean,
Um,
it's crazy to see how like scientists are at least back the World War II scientists, like even after World War II, even if they fought for Germany, like we still repurpose them.
I mean, it's insane because these are men and women that are just like curious, but unchecked, some of them are fucking
Ooh,
monsters.
what will this button do? Boop.
Oh God. Oh God damn it, Fernie. Oh, here's a
Oh,
question.
you lose.
Folks, he's doing this to fuck with me at this point. There's a point where, so let's talk about Oppenheimer, but let's go back to him. So he's
Uh,
married, but he can't let Florence Pugh go because why? How could he?
that shit was
Um,
hilarious. What?
well,
She called me. She wanted me to go over. I had to have sex with her.
it was crazy because it was like it's almost a romanticism of like she's my soulmate, but also like, bro, you're married with two kids. Like that shit's in the either like cut
And
it
then she
off.
told him, like, man, the fuck up.
Yeah, at one point she's like, dude,
Oh, when she
see,
dies, when she kills herself.
okay, I have a question. Did you catch it for that
Yeah.
moment? The
That
glove?
someone was holding her down.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, oh shit, did anyone else see that?
They
And no
put
one
that in
else
the
looked
movie,
shocked.
but it's pretty well like agreed upon that she killed herself.
Apparently, from the documentaries that I saw, they all said that it's debatable if she killed herself or if it was suicide. If it was suicide or if someone killed her.
I don't know, she's kind of a
Because
bitch to be honest. If I need
I
to bring you
mean,
flowers.
I hate the flowers.
And then she fucking throws them away.
I don't know, man. Everyone's relationship is different. I'm not gonna judge. Um, but Oppenheimer, dude, leading up to the point where they were gonna like test the bomb,
Uh-huh.
uh, it was something for Oppenheimer to be in his element. Like you could tell he was very like, let's go. Like today's the day we're gonna fucking do this.
Mm-hmm.
He even knew the terrain. Like he even knew they were like the rain's letting up right now about this time. We got 2 minutes. I mean, we got like 2 hours, a 2 hour window to hit the bomb. And it's also crazy because these guys they didn't know what was gonna happen when they set off the bomb. At one
Yeah.
point we get a scene where like the guy's like, it's almost impossible, but the ignition,
Oh, that
the
it would
bomb
burn
might
up all the nitrogen and oxygen in the atmosphere and
yeah
thus
wipe out the
killing
planet.
thus killing the planet. And he's
Yeah.
like, it's almost zero. He's like, almost zero. He's like, well, what do you want from theory alone?
Yeah.
Zero.
Well, you'll be the first to find out if it's not if it happens.
But did you know that scientists, I think in the 70s, actually did the math and it would take a lot more than what they did to fucking burn the earth?
Yeah, I mean, no, that makes sense, but at the time they didn't know any better.
Oh, yeah. At the
But
time, they're like, we'll see what happens and see how good it goes.
and at one point, they're taking bets. Like, oh, let's see what happens. Let's see how many of us are gonna. Let's see if it does ignite. Like, oh, I'll bet you $10 against my whole month's salary that doesn't ignite. Well, it's not gonna really matter if I'm right, is it? But
Yeah.
okay, fine. Um, but yeah, they set off the bomb, and then it's the only time we really get the whole like out of context wording. Some people laughed, some people cried, most were just silence. And then he
Yeah.
makes the line, Vishnu, I have become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Oh, he says that while he's
Uh,
banging Florence Pugh, too.
yeah, which is like, I wonder if that's true.
All right, weirdo. Fucking reading Sanskrit while you're getting ridden like a pony. Yes.
Yeah, not bad. All
All right, we were
right.
talking about the
Sanskrit.
yeah.
Um, what's it called? Okay, so we get that scene and it's quiet. Did the boom get you?
Yeah, I mean it was pretty fucking loud.
I'm pretty sure they blew out some speakers with that scene. Like, fuck.
You know, I will say one thing about the bomb test that they didn't
Uh-huh.
show like the mushroom cloud.
No, you're right. They did not.
And that's why I was kind of like, that's the money shot.
I
Like,
mean, they wanted to be practical, so they couldn't show it.
I know, but there was like two things I wanted to see. That one, and then maybe the bombs drop over Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
What's it called? I well, I guess that makes sense why they never showed the actual bomb droppings.
Yeah.
Um, and then they have this great scene where like Oppenheimer's trying to talk to the general and everyone else, and they're not telling him where they're dropping it. They're keeping fully in the dark. And I think it's at that moment when they're like, "You made the bomb. We'll take it from here." He kind of realizes, what the fuck did I just do?"
Yeah, like that's I mean, you see it in movies all the time. Like once they're done with the scientists, they're like, all right, beat it, nerds.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, I get it. You're soldiers. You've been in the shit more than these scientists.
Hmm.
But maybe take the creators into account because shit's gonna get serious real quick.
Well, it's because the scientists are there to make the bomb, and then everyone else is there to make decisions.
Um, but like I don't think they understood the gravity of the situation when they were dropping those bombs because they were projecting
Oh well, no one did.
casualties.
I mean, everyone like, I mean, it's the first of its kind. It's a fucking atomic bomb.
Well, I mean, remember when they were projecting casualties, they were like, "Oh, 10,000 maybe 20 if we're lucky."
Fucking maybe.
And then what? How many? It was like what? If you include radiation poisoning, I think like somewhere between 150 to 200,000 dead.
That was the one thing I didn't really look up was how bad the radiation poisoning was. Like I don't know how bad it was after the bomb.
It it was horrible. Like you know how guys. Okay, and folks, this is where my Godzilla nerd knowledge is going to come into play for a minute. Um, you know how he has like black burn skin? Supposedly, it was meant to like look like the survivors of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. How bad some of the burns were on some people. And bear in
Mm.
mind, it's not like it was selectful. Like, no, man, woman, child, everyone, you're on the cutting room floor. Like, you're going to be exposed to this horrible, horrible thing. Some
Hmm.
of you will live, some of you will die, and most of you will never be the same. So, um, and it haunted him. It really fucking did. He has this famous scene with Truman. Truman was a dick. Well, Truman was mad because he's like, "This is not your way to carry. It's mine." Um, Truman even throws him out of his office because he tells Truman, "Mr. President, I feel like I have blood on my hands." And Truman's like, "Get this fucking coward out of my sight." But I mean,
Well,
it's famous. It's famously documented though. Truman did have guilt about using the bomb, but I think he felt insulted that anyone else felt guilty about it because he's like, "No, this was my thing to do, not yours."
yeah.
It's
I mean,
just,
it's just like it really is. It I couldn't fathom like the decision making behind using a world altering bomb. Like, imagine having to make that fucking decision.
I mean, I can't imagine the weight of it, but I imagine if you got to the point where it was necessary, I mean, God, that's just a trolley problem at that point. Do you unleash the big bomb, or is it do you risk more soldiers dying, like trying to invade Japan? Because also the plan was the U.S. was going to go for the south of Japan, Russia was going to take the north, and they were going to meet in the middle. So
Mm.
imagine how that would have gone.
I mean, well, at the time, I know Russia had declared war on Japan.
Yeah, no, yeah, they had, and I mean, God, I think they had been planning for like 2 months the invasion of Japan. Two bombs later, hey, you know what? Tap.
How'd you feel about the bomb being dropped? Were you like, holy shit?
Like in real, are you talking in real life?
Yeah,
I, from an objective standpoint, the numbers alone almost justify the bomb's existence because 200,000 dead versus 800,000 dead.
yeah,
You can also argue there's never been another world war since then. Like peace at the end of a gun, but peace nonetheless.
yeah.
I mean, you can argue that. Like war has not been the same since those bombs were used, and
Oh
thankfully
yeah.
they haven't been used. There was a moment where during the Vietnam War, one of the generals, I don't remember which general, was just like, let's just nuke the shit out of them.
Yeah,
What?
you couldn't because fucking Russia had nukes at the time.
Yeah, but no, but his whole campaign was just based on nuking the shit out of Vietnam.
Idiot.
And I can't remember which general that was. Maybe Patton? It might have been General Patton, I want to say. It
Were
was a
you
famous one.
surprised by the traitors?
What do you mean?
Like, because the one that I thought was gonna be the traitor was the big dude who ran off. He's like, I'm not going to work with him anymore.
Oh, yeah, fuck that
I
guy.
thought that
You
he
mean,
was gonna be the traitor.
no, it was Hans.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the fucking other dude that was like inconspicuous. I think he only got
Yeah,
like 14 years in prison because of it.
yeah, because they knew he was, but they were lacking certain evidence for some reason, so they couldn't. But no, I also know that he got 14 years. There was two Russian espionage people that were tried for treason, and they were sentenced to death.
Yeah, wasn't it a husband and wife?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what the show The Americans was based on.
I mean, I wonder, did they execute them together?
I have no idea.
But no, but yeah, overall, like, oof. And then what'd you think of Strauss trying to railroad Oppenheimer?
I mean, I get why he was pissy at him because Oppenheimer made him look like an idiot. But I thought it was just
Well,
fucked up that Oppenheimer got just completely boo-fooed.
and it's like what happened to Einstein also. Like after like his whole famous E equals MC squared, he becomes a celebrity. Then they just throw him down the toilet the second he tries to argue against anything the U.S. wants to do. They'll love you when you agree, but the second you
Yeah.
try to give your opinion, no, 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 you're not the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, and then it just all turned out to be uh, a bullshit fucking ploy to railroad Oppenheimer, and they take away his security clearance, and they're pretty much one hair away from fucking branding him as a traitor
Yeah.
in that
But
bullshit fucking hearing that they were doing. That wasn't even a real hearing.
well, it's also nuts because at one point, even the general who recruited Oppenheimer, um, even says like they ask him like by these
Oh, by today's
guidelines,
standards,
yeah, by today's
would you
standards, would
would
you?
you would you give him security clearance?
He says no, but he says I also wouldn't have given security clearance to any of the other guys. Like
Yeah.
you're you're asking me questions that you know are not fair. I loved how his wife dealt with him though. How she was
Oh
like
yeah,
pissing off
his
the.
wife was a fucking bitch to him. It was awesome.
I don't understand the question. What do you mean? You're wording it weird, but that's not proper English. Do you need me to teach you how to speak? Because the way you're wording the question makes you
That's how I
sound
would
like less
respond to
educated.
him. I'd be real
Like,
bitchy too.
well, especially after they dragged out his fucking affair right to her face.
I know they're fucking assholes to him for no fucking reason, just because of Strauss. And then it's always nice to find out that Strauss never got what he wanted politically out of that.
Yeah, he may have fucked over Oppenheimer, but also like yeah, he peaked. He never got to be in the person's cabinet.
No, and then not just that, by fucking Kennedy.
Oh, that's right, dude. It almost felt like a teaser, like from like in the Avengers, like oh, Doctor Stephen Strange,
Oh yeah, he's like, who didn't vote for me?
some
And
young
he's
guy from
like
Massachusetts.
yeah, some young guy from Massachusetts trying to make a name for himself. Kennedy.
Dude, if Nolan does a Kennedy movie, I'd be fucking down.
I mean, do you think it'd be better than Oliver Stone's Kennedy movie?
I don't think I ever saw Oliver Stone's Kennedy movie.
Me either, but I hear it's really good.
What if Nolan does JFK next, and then he does Marilyn Monroe?
Well, they're making a Priscilla movie.
Oh, yeah, Elvis's. Ugh.
His
Yeah,
underage wife. He
I
likes her
wonder.
young.
I was gonna say, I wonder if they're gonna. They need to talk about it because they just glossed over it in Elvis. They
Well,
didn't
it's
even
by
mention that she was
Sofia
married.
Coppola.
I mean, again, I don't know if they're gonna mention the fact that how fucking young she was because that's gonna drag
Oh,
Elvis's butt.
cousin.
That
I
was just
get
weird.
every time I think of Sofia Coppola, I think of her in Godfather 3. Oh,
I
cousin. I
I
love you,
think
cousin.
I think we all think of Godfather 3 and how wrong it was. I get what he was going for, but it was wrong.
I don't give a fuck what he was going for. Incest is never cool.
Well, and in Italy, it was cool for like a couple hundred years.
No, I don't care. It never is.
So, well, in Alabama, it's still cool. I
Allegedly.
I think I'm getting indignant here. But but so yeah, so Strauss never gets it.
Mm-mm.
Do you think? And we'll talk about Cillian Murphy in a second. Do you think RDJ gets the nod for best
For-
supporting actor?
Oh, it's tough, dude, because this is an ensemble cast, and usually whenever it's an ensemble cast, they always have a hard time choosing someone to be to be nominated.
What are they gonna pick? Fucking Jason Bourne or fucking Iron Man? Come on.
I mean, he got picked when he was playing a black guy, playing a white guy, playing a black guy.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, he was
Oh my
nominated.
God, I forgot about that.
I think that's a snub. I thought he should have gotten the win.
I think the Academy is happy that they didn't give it to
I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
him. So dumb.
It was what for me, like quick sidetrack. What's dumb
Mhm.
is that role gets so misconstrued now.
In memes.
Well, no, people are like, he's doing blackface. No, he's doing the absurdity of a method actor that goes so method that he would get his skin pigmented darker to get a role. He's making fun of the absurdity of it.
I think also like Tom Cruise and the movie producers, right?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, fuck face. I want to need you to bend over and fuck your own face.
yeah. Like it's an absurd movie. It's not meant to be taken literally. Like, do you really think that RDJ would do blackface for fun?
You know, I remember the one line where Jack Black is on the floor. He's like, "My ass, my ass," and I always that soundbite always plays in my head whenever like I'm squatting and I feel a cramp coming on.
Oh god.
Anyway,
But
um,
I wouldn't be surprised. I thought he was really good in this movie.
you know, him, Matt Damon, and Emily Blunt all took massive pay cuts for this movie.
Well, Matt Damon was on retirement. I mean, not retirement. He was taking a break from acting.
Really?
Yeah.
Officially?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But he made a deal with his wife that if Nolan came calling to put him in a movie, he would take it.
Is Nolan the only director on that list?
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think they were
Ben called
talking
him.
about it before, and he was probably like, "Oh, well, I'm taking a break, like from acting." And I'm pretty sure like him and his wife discussed it, and he was like, "Look, if it's Nolan, I'll do it."
Who's his wife?
She's a normal person.
Oh, he married a normie? Good for her.
Yeah.
Hmm. God, what are the what, you know? Poor Matt Damon. He has not had the career that Ben Affleck has had.
I mean, some would say he's had a better career.
You think so?
Granted, Ben Affleck's had a better directorial career,
Hmm.
and he's even won like Oscars as a producer.
Are you sure he's taking a break from acting? Because according to this, he's currently filming three different movies right now.
Well, that's what it said.
Maybe he was beforehand, but yeah, according to this. He's doing Drive Away Dolls, If, and The Investigators, all coming out next year.
Well,
What
he's
two are
probably
in
get.
post production?
Well, what's
What?
the time frame between Oppenheimer and his previous movie?
Air. Air came out this year too.
But Air, it was filmed this year. I mean, it was filmed in
No idea.
2022.
No, but you know what? You might be right because in 2022, all he did was Thor: Love and Thunder, and that was just a cameo. So I
Yeah,
think he did take a year off. I guess.
he probably did. But yeah, he wouldn't get nominated. It's either Cillian Murphy for Best Actor. I think if Nolan doesn't get nominated for Best Director, that's a big fucking fuck you to him.
Jennifer Lame, she needs to get nominated for Best Editing because fuck,
Mm.
like she made this movie make sense.
Do you
Um,
think Nolan finally wins the Oscar for this one?
I think it's a movie about a bunch of old white men during World War II, but they're scientists, so I think he's got a pretty good chance.
What other movies has he been nominated for?
He should have been. I think Inception. He should have been nominated for The Dark Knight, but you know how fucking the Academy is with superhero movies.
Even though they
Um,
gave the Oscar to fucking uh Heath Ledger.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so he got nominated for Best Picture for Inception and for Dunkirk.
Mm. Yeah,
He
Dunkirk
won.
was a movie about old white dudes, and that didn't win, so you never know. I think he should win. I think
I
this
think
year's
there's.
pretty light on Academy Award movies,
You think so? I think it's actually kind of heavy, man. I think there's been so many good movies this year. I wouldn't be surprised like how many get nominated.
but like what? What do you think beats Oppenheimer for best movie?
Oh, for our best film, shit. God damn, you're right. When you're just asked point blank, it's hard to answer.
Yeah, you can't really think of anything.
Across the Spider Verse.
That's a fucking animated movie.
You never know. I
Well,
need to go back through the
that movie's
list.
more likely gonna win the animated Oscar.
It will win the animated. If it doesn't, I would be fucking shocked. Let me see.
Yeah.
Best films of 2023 so far because I can't think of any. Cocaine Bear might get nominated. Never know.
Which one?
Cocaine Bear.
Really?
I'm being sarcastic. John Wick 4. You know, I love John Wick, but you and I both know it's not winning any Oscars.
Yeah.
Uh, D&D Evil Dead Rise. Oh, here's
Um,
one. Bao is Afraid. Yeah, I can see that one.
what?
It's called Bao is Afraid. It's a really shitty movie about some guy who's obsessed with his mom. That's
Jesus.
Joaquin Phoenix. But it's one of those
Napoleon,
movies where it's like,
maybe? Because
huh?
Napoleon comes out in November.
Oh, Napoleon will probably get nominated for an Oscar because that thing looks fucking epic. I can't wait. If it comes out in theaters, I know it's Apple TV.
Wasn't his wife like wouldn't she cheat on him?
I think so. Because I remember at one point in the trailer, at one point she even tells him like, "Without me, you're nothing." It's like, well, he's the one that's conquering everything, but okay.
Listen here, you tall bitch, I'll fucking kill you.
Well, actually, no, he wasn't even that tall, right?
No, he was short. That was the whole
I,
shtick.
I, I mean, no, he wasn't even that short. He was actually average height for a Frenchman. He was
Oh
5'8".
yeah, for back then. I don't know how the whole short thing started.
I guess because a European was like, he's only 5'8". Haha, I'm 5'10", and it just fucking went from there. I guess
He was 5'6".
he was five. Napoleon?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was kind of short, I guess. Let's see. Did his wife cheat on him often? Let's see. Birthplace, Marriage to Napoleon. Uh, the Tart of the Town. Interesting. Okay. Yes, yes, she did.
Yep. The first
Speaking
article that
of
came up was from medium.com. Napoleon's wife Josephine did him dirty.
what?
So the title of the article is Napoleon's wife Josephine did him dirty. The famous
Oh,
French general Napoleon Bonaparte was cuckolded and ghosted by his first wife Josephine, but his love never died.
I don't know
Uh,
if he's a good man or she's just a terrible person.
Napoleon.
Maybe that's why he was so good at conquering shit. He was so angry from his wife cheating on him all the time.
Uh, he's he's an odd one, but yeah, I think Napoleon might be one to rival Oppenheimer.
Oh,
Fuck,
I mean,
even Barbie could have might sneak in there somehow.
I was gonna say, man, if the Academy really wants to send signals that they're changing, I think Barbie might. But I thought that might have been too ridiculous to tell you. Watch Barbie and then tell me what you think. We'll do a fucking mini review if you want.
I don't know.
But watch it with a crowd. That's the only thing. I think you need to watch it with a crowd.
I like going to movies by myself in the middle of the day when no one's there.
Fucking
That's why I
weirdo.
saw Talk to Me. Talk to Me fucked me up.
I'm watching it tomorrow, so I'll let you know.
There were some parts that like even after the movie when I came home, I was like, fuck. But it was a good
What's it
movie.
called?
It's the only A24 horror movie I like.
You want to talk about it maybe tomorrow or sometime this
Fuck
week?
yeah.
All right, I'll watch it tomorrow and I'll let you know.
Uh Wednesday, Thursday I won't be able to because we have our meet the teacher and our Maverick picnic. I
I
hope
got
you
you.
know what? I will sell your identity now.
Oh God. Okay. Fucking. So all right. So final thoughts, man. What do you think about it?
Oppenheimer, I thought it was 5 out of 5. Perfect. I thought it was really
I
enjoyable. It did not do the typical historical movie trope where like they show like the what happened to everybody at the end of the movie.
mhm.
Like you know how they'll usually show like the real person.
Yeah.
Like it didn't do that with this movie.
Actually, wait. You know what? I also appreciate the fact that they showed the bad parts of Oppenheimer. They didn't just like make him like this patriot. Like no, they showed the ugly parts. They showed him cheating on his wife. They showed him having his breakdowns. Him
Yeah, it
being
was a
morally
piece of shit.
questionable. Like they didn't show him in a good light. They showed him in an honest light, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, folks. So that's gonna do it for our review of Oppenheimer. If you haven't seen it,
Wait,
go
what do
watch it.
you rate it? You
Oh, I
didn't
said
say
10 out of
anything.
10. I said
Oh,
A plus right after you said.
yeah, 5 out of
Um,
5, 10 out of 10. Perfect.
a movie everyone should watch. I mean, shit, it got us to discuss the effects of the nuclear bomb today. So I mean, that's saying something. You can get us to talk about shit like that.
That's because Eddie's not too fond of history.
What?
You don't like history.
I like history.
Oh, I always thought you didn't.
No, I hate science.
Hmm.
Fuck
Why?
science.
Because it proves your God wrong?
No, because my fucking chemistry teacher in college sucked.
Oh.
I will say her name, but if I want to work for UTRGV one day, I might not be able to. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this particular episode. But we have a lot of content coming at y'all in the next couple of weeks. Whether it's gonna
Did
be
you put out my
a
Talk to Me review?
no, I finally got my laptop from work so I can edit it. So that's going out probably tonight, along with
It's
this
only
review.
like
Probably.
slight editing at the front and maybe the back. That's pretty much it.
I got you. I'm gonna add some music to it though, also. So
Okay. All
you're
right,
getting the full editing treatment.
let me clear us out. Thank you for joining us for this beautiful review of Oppenheimer. Please check us out wherever you get your podcast needs, Google, Apple, or Spotify. We are there. We put out videos on YouTube. I try to put out every time I get a chance. It's a lot easier than putting out a podcast. But please check us out wherever you get your podcast needs. This was your review of Oppenheimer. I'm Fernie,
I've been editing.
and let's cut it.